Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you are all having a great day to start things off. The head of Fidelity's new crypto platform says that the company is receiving a surprising amount of interest from traditional institutions. Tom Jessup told The Block that pensions and endowments are doing their homework sooner than expected. He said, I think we started with what I'll call crypto native types, so a lot of crypto hedge funds showing interest early. I think following that, we've seen interest from hedge funds that have convinced their management to allocate reasonably large amounts of capital to the asset class, which is a positive. We have gotten inquiries from family offices, some of whom already are allocated and want to have more assets in our custody, others that have dollar-based mandates but won't activate until there's a custodian. Then we're seeing, quite frankly, even from the advisor community, interest from financial advisors and then a little bit from the pension and endowment world, and this is probably the most important part out of all of it. He said, I wouldn't say that these are clients that have done their homework and are ready to allocate, but I think more have done work, and as part of their exploration are talking to service providers. That to me is kind of interesting. If you had asked me 6 months ago or 9 months if we'd be talking to pensions and endowments, I probably would have said unlikely. The positive news here is that not only has Fidelity launched, even though it's for the upper crust, if you will, at the very moment. They mentioned this a couple of days ago that when they did launch that they were only going to try to serve and or service or apply to heavy institutional investors and or like family management funds, like it says this, so I can't remember the exact term for it, family offices. That pretty much means families that are worth billions that have wealth managers and all this other stuff. They're trying to appeal to them first. Apparently it's working, but the thing that I mentioned had to be weeks or a couple of months ago at this point, what we were waiting for quite a long amount of time was we were waiting for the rich families, we were waiting for the large offices, the hedge funds, what have you. But the most important part is that they are now being contacted by the pension and endowment world. Pension kind of being the more important one because when the pension money gets in, how do I say this easily? Pensions only invest in things that they know will have a long-term growth and a long-term value. So these are pensions who are investing in a space that they think is going to last for at least the next 20 to 30 years, as they are having pensions for people who are going to be retiring in the next 20 to 30 years. So the fact that they are rushing to Fidelity is very good news. I guess that's maybe the most important part of that entire thing. It's nice to hear that all of this is finally taking off, even though the price of Bitcoin has yet to react to any type of good news. Let's move on to some good old centralization news. We haven't had this in quite a bit of time. It says over 80% of the total circulating supply of Ethereum is held by 7,572 addresses. This claims a report released by digital asset research company Delphi Digital on the 7th of March. To keep that into a bit of perspective, one of the major ideas of cryptocurrencies, and if you want to even slim it down a lot more, of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, is supposed to be that these are currencies for everyone around the world. Everyone's supposed to have them. So when you only have 7,500 addresses holding 80% of all the Ether that's kind of out there, you have to keep in mind that there are also 7.5 or 8 billion people now on this planet. So even if it was just 100 million people on the planet, that's still only 7,500 addresses that hold a huge amount of Ether. It says more precisely, the data contained in the report claims that over 80% of the total supply of ETH coins are held by addresses with a balance over 1,000 Ether. The number of such addresses adds up to 7,500. The research breaks down the total number of addresses by volume of ETH they contain, stating that 6,490 addresses hold between 1,000 and 10,923. Keep in mind, once again, 8 billion people, 923 of them hold between 10,000 and 100,000. 155 addresses have between 100,000 and 1 million Ether, and only 4 addresses have 1 million to 10 million Ether. In the same document, the company also claims that the price of ETH has dropped an average of 19% after each of the past 5 hard forks over the past 30 days. And they go to talk about the hard fork and the so and so and so, and people being shocked that the price hasn't shot up in value, even though the mining reward has been slimmed down. We used to have a lot of this in 2018 where people were kind of doing their own due diligence and kind of looking further into this. I like personally, and I mean this ironically, that the narrative has completely changed so much. When I first got into cryptocurrencies, the idea was that crypto was for everyone. Crypto was for the masses. Everyone had to have a fraction of crypto. If you had your fraction, you're doing pretty well. And then I remember talking, especially in the earlier parts of this channel, about how I knew, and it was fairly obvious, that a huge amount of concentration of Bitcoin and Ethereum were held by very few people. I remember even when Bitcoin was around $500, people still had maybe a tenth of a Bitcoin. And then you had people on the news like the Winklevoss twins and other prominent people talking about how, they had 100,000, have 185,000 Bitcoin, et cetera. So whenever I would mention that, people would say I was spreading FUD, and I'm glad that we now have these other, whatever you want to call them, digital asset research company who are finding out these numbers as well. I told you all once before, the rich are only going to get richer, and it's not even like a bump up in wealth. It's going to be like a massive skyrocketing thing. Anyway, I like news like this because it shows exactly, even though crypto is meant to be this savior of the world and help everyone monetarily and so, you can't change human behavior. Humans are going to acquire as much as they can whenever they can so that they have an edge over everyone else out there. Don't be fooled. And I'm ironically glad that rhetoric has ended, because it was just a load of hogwash. Kind of everyone was so intent on talking about how crypto was going to, even now when you hear the people who are talking about these things, if you listen to any podcasts or watch them right on Twitter, and they talk about how this is going to bring about economic sovereignty, these are people who hold 50,000 Bitcoin. I don't think the person who has a tenth of a Bitcoin is going to be as economically sovereign as you when you are worth potentially several hundreds of millions of billions of dollars even. Anyway, just my own opinion on this. Let's move on. We're getting this a lot recently, and it's something that I mentioned a couple days ago as well, and I wouldn't be mad if it happened at this point. I think the market just kind of needs to move. It says an article published on Forbes. Once again, Forbes. Forbes attacked XRP a couple days ago, and since then they've been trying to be positive about every single cryptocurrency out there. An article published on Forbes has made a strong case for Litecoin sitting at the fourth largest market cap position, flipping third-ranked XRP by the end of this year. Despite coin prices across the market still being down by 80%, and some obviously from their highs because of the crypto winter, Litecoin has more than doubled its value since the start of the year. The coin is trading at $57 as of writing, up from its most recent lows of $23. Where is it? Bambro, I assume that's how you pronounce it, in his piece published on Forbes, believes that Litecoin's price is responding to strong efforts by the Litecoin Foundation and developers to improve security and privacy for the coin. In addition to culling several high-profile partnerships, he said, Litecoin volatility spiked when the Litecoin Foundation announced it's exploring the integration of Mimblewimble, a protocol offering privacy and fungibility to blockchains, a report by cryptocurrency brokerage SFOX read this week. In March, keep an eye on how privacy news moments impact markets. Thought it was movements, such as recent revelations over Coinbase's third-party service provider selling client data, which we're not going to even get into in this video. Coinbase is just a mess. I would like to see it. I wouldn't lie. I don't have an enormous amount of Litecoin, but I mean, go for it. A lot of people, I feel like we're getting to that point again in the cryptocurrency space, and it's kind of, in a weird way, historical. I think everyone can, and I dare not speak the words, everyone can tell when the market's going to go back up. When everyone has an inkling that the market could potentially maybe in the future go up, everyone starts releasing news like this, talking about which coins could flip which other coins. We had news about a day or two ago where they were talking about that Ethereum could potentially flip Bitcoin. I don't think that's in the cards anytime soon, especially after what Fidelity said. But because of the momentum of Litecoin, I would not be surprised if it does start shooting up in price. But I have what we saw before was that when Litecoin was shooting up in price, the rest of the market also kind of slightly responded. And I feel like, for me, I've seen before, and I've showed you before in charts as well. It's very interesting that whenever another coin is very close to getting flipped or passed by, the other coin that is trying to flip actually starts shooting up in price as well, which is kind of funny because whenever Ethereum does really well, and like all these articles start coming out about like Ethereum potentially, maybe if this momentum continues, pushing past Bitcoin, and all of a sudden, guess who starts moving up after not moving up for weeks? Bitcoin starts moving up as well, which just kind of goes to show that markets can move up when they want to. It has nothing to do with this range that we're. Sorry if I sound a little annoyed. I'm not. I've just been reading. This isn't. When I give cryptocurrency news, I try not to make the videos too long, what have you. And I read some other news, and it's the crypto space needs a lot of help. I'll try and make another video on it later on. There's just a lot of really random stuff happening. I'm fairly certain that what's happening in the cryptocurrency space is just a tub full of manipulation. Kind of goes with the territory. I guess this is not what we asked for. It's more like this is the space that we're just in. Anyway, let's move on. This is kind of the one of the weirdest stories in a while. A bill requiring users to identify themselves while using digital currencies has been filed on March 8th, according to the official Texas legislator portal. The bill's text contains the definitions of digital currencies, digital wallets, distributed ledgers, and verified identity digital currencies, or VIDCs. Never heard of that. The latter is defined as a digital currency that allows the true identities of the sender and the receiver to be known before a person has access to another person's digital wallet. Per the proposed bill, before accepting a payment in digital currency, a person must verify the identity of the person sending the payment unless a VIDC is used. Moreover, the proposed regulation also specifies this state may not use a digital currency that is not a verified identity digital currency. The bill further declares that the Texas Department of Banking, Credit Union Commission, Texas Department of Public Safety, and State Securities Board will work together to support the application of VIDCs. Such encouragement is defined as providing tools to distinguish VIDCs from other digital currencies, educating law enforcement, and promoting the use of VIDCs. The bill also specifies how those guidelines should be implemented, noting that the aforementioned organization should adopt rules to carry out these directives. I'm not too sure how that's going to work. I understand wanting to understand, or rather, I get the mindset of a government or a legislator, blah, 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 whatever, wanting to know who's using a cryptocurrency or who's making a payment with something. And this is why you may have noticed the world is moving to more digital payments. This is why everything flows through Apple Pay, PayPal, blah, 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 Pay, Google Pay. They want everything to be digital. But it appears that what they're trying to do is to make sure that you are always identified regardless of what you're doing. And this is kind of weird because if you can just go to an ATM, take out $20, go buy some coffee, you're not identified. But if you're going to be using digital currencies, especially paying in digital currencies, that puts a huge damper on the space. And I'm not exactly sure. I don't know who the exact people who made this law or trying to get this bill pushed through, or but it appears they do not understand what cryptocurrencies are for, or rather, they probably don't care. It doesn't mean a lot to them, and they're putting a what's the word? They're making it so that they're not as friendly to cryptocurrency companies who could potentially be putting a lot of money into their economy. Because if you want to know a really good way to get people to not give you money, you make bills like this, or you make sure that everything that's happening within your state, this isn't even the country, within your state, that you have a sandbox and you sit over their shoulders and tell them exactly what to do. What are all those other states that we had? It was like, what was it? Wyoming, Idaho, and somewhere else. They all had like pretty great laws for cryptocurrency. Anyway, I thought this was interesting. We're seeing a huge mixed bag, if you will, of cryptocurrency laws that are kind of being pushed out there, of people trying to propose things for cryptocurrencies that are just not good for their state or their country or their jurisdiction or their whatever they're trying to do. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, breezing over this one. Apparently, for those who are looking at the screen, everyone is holding their breath, and I mean everyone is now blue and purple in the face, waiting for Bitcoin to finally go above $4,000, because what's happening now is that a lot of other cryptocurrencies are showing on their charts that they are bullish that if there is going to be a break, that they're going to break up. However, there is no indication that Bitcoin is actually going to be going up. And what ends up happening is that even when the wider market shows positive signs that things could potentially be going upwards, all it takes is for Bitcoin to slam down by 4%, and then the rest of the market is once again in the red. This also has to do with part of my frustration. I'll get into that in the next story. But yeah, everyone is the last couple of days, I want to say even 6 or 7, as we've gotten near this area over here, everyone has been writing very positive articles about what they think is going to happen to the prices of the wider cryptocurrency market. Part of the issue is that what we've seen before is that when those good articles start coming out, this is normally when prices end up breaking down. And yeah, let's move on to the next topic. Next up, Stellar Lumens is in the news. Stellar Lumens was pushed up by the bulls as other top coins were in the red, resulting in sideways market movement. The global market cap noted a minimal incline this weekend and stood at 135 billion on the 7th of March. The German financial media house known as Börse Medien AG acquired Satoshi Pay, a crypto startup that offered micropayment solutions and had blockchain projects with Stellar, Ergo, and Eternity for the partnership. Stellar's blockchain technology was leveraged, allowing the media house to initiate a pay-per-article scheme using Satoshi Pay's payment solution to send funds from the reader to the publisher, because Satoshi Pay deals with like micro payments, like micro transactions, if you will, so very, 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 very small amounts. The Stellar Development Foundation will also supply free credits to new readers, allowing them to purchase content on Börse Medien AG's media platform using the Satoshi Pay wallet. This adoption drive pushed the coin up by a relatively significant, it's actually up a bit more than that. Prior to the aforementioned announcement, the Stellar Lumens price had been rising. The peak of this bullish swing came on the 10th of March when the coin pushed up so and so and so. Here's another article where they talk about it, because in this article that it was really weird. Most other cryptocurrency websites were just copying, pasting this exact thing. It was kind of maddening. I found this other one over here. I can't remember exactly where it says it, but apparently they will be using, or the news stands that they will actually be using Stellar, or rather Stellar will be used in the micropayments for this. What annoys me, and this is only a tenth of my annoyance right now, is that, first of all, this is the actual website for the people who are going to be using them. I'm not tearing down their website. I'm not saying anything. I find it a little weird in the cryptocurrency space, and I don't really understand why this happens. Don't tell me market trends. Don't tell me market so-and-so. Don't tell me cyclical. Don't tell me anything about hyperwaves. Like, none of it. Zero. I don't want to hear a word. Where is it? Stellar Lumens, even a couple seconds ago, before I started making this video, was up by 15%. This is where the little, red comes. It was over 15%. And I sat here thinking, I said, it's very, very weird, and I don't know exactly what it is. This is why I still think that the market is very, it stinks of manipulation. We've had news for months now of around 8 different stock exchanges around the world who are going to be using Bitcoin. At least 14 different custody solutions that the world has been asking for Bitcoin to kind of, around the world that we needed. We have Fidelity just launched. We know that the NASDAQ is going to be listing Bitcoin. What was the other one? Everything, all signs are pointing to the fact that Bitcoin is heavily undervalued. That's not me knocking Stellar Lumens, but I always think it's a little suspect whenever a coin. So if you actually read even further, what apparently is happening is that this company right here is apparently purchasing a stake in Satoshi Pay. They're not even acquiring the entire thing, and they're not even mandating that Stellar Lumens has to actually be used on their platform. But when we get news from the New York Stock Exchange that they're creating something that you'll be able to use cryptocurrencies and even just Bitcoin all around the world as a payment option through Bakkt, and then the price goes down, not exactly sure what's happening. Like, I would assume, if Stellar Lumens got a partnership that wasn't really even a direct partnership, it was a partnership through Satoshi Pay with a company that has like I said, forgive me, you have to understand my frustration, with a website that looks like this, and then the price can shoot up by 15%. I have a very strong feeling that if Bitcoin is going to be used as a worldwide currency, spoken from the lips of both the people from NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, and is also being integrated into the actual German stock exchange, and the price doesn't go up at all, it's a little weird to me. People were mentioning before a couple of days ago that the over-the-counter market is destroying the cryptocurrency market. I agree and disagree. People are going to buy over-the-counter regardless. People want to make sure that they get in at a certain price. If they buy 1 week at this price, they want to make sure that it is relatively the same when they buy at another week. I don't know. I don't really remember that chart that we saw before. What was it? It was like the misery chart or something like that, where like it shows, you know, how the market goes up and like how the sentiment of the market, it happens for everyone around the world at the exact same time. I think I must be at the bottom of the barrel. It usually, it takes a lot to get me down. If you've been paying attention to the last 911 videos that I've done, it takes a lot to kind of get me annoyed. I don't not like Stellar, but it's kind of weird that Stellar's price is moving up. And even for other coins, I actually want to see if the other ones are also going up. It was, where is it? Nope, it wasn't Tezos. It wasn't Tezos at all. Engine Coin is also going up. People have also been mad at me because I'm not talking about Engine Coin. You never heard of an Engine Coin before they had that partnership, and I find no reason to now shill them or talk about them every single day just because the price is going up. That price is not going to go up forever. It was Eternity, I think it was. I'm going to search for that right now. Where's the price? I would have assumed that this price would also be shooting up, as this was also part of the partnership that was also over there. Anyway, just venting my frustrations. It's very, very weird, and I'm very certain I can just kind of feel it. If it happens the other way, that'd be wonderful. That'd be absolutely great. But I have a very strong feeling that even regardless of all the good news that we've been getting, all the information that we've been getting about Bitcoin adoption and the massive volume spike, it is double what Bitcoin's normal volume is. By the time that we get to where's the little chart over here? By the time that we get to the little end of this range right here, I have a very strong feeling that Bitcoin's going to break down. Probably people keep saying that we're going to retest the 3,700 or potentially the 3,300 price mark. Doesn't make any sense. None of the market makes any sense anymore. Like I said, don't take my anger or my frustration as something that'll last forever. I'm typically very optimistic on the cryptocurrency space, but it just kind of feels like something is... Is there a level above manipulation? It seems very, very odd that we have no price movements for Bitcoin. Like, regardless of what kind of range that we're in, we've seen before, even if you're in a range like this and you get towards, even right here, you mathematically have a good 4, 5, 6, 7 more days left of a tight range. Any type of good news would shoot your coin's price right up. I'm pretty sure that Stellar was also in a tight range. We saw the chart that we had yesterday that nearly every single coin is following Bitcoin exactly, and it's kind of weird that Stellar was able to break out of that. Anyway, I think I'm done. I think I've vented enough. I don't know what it is. I woke up this morning and it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. It was this very weird, I think I sat there eating breakfast thinking of all the really interesting things that have happened to Bitcoin and to the cryptocurrency space over the last couple of months. And all the Bitcoin stuff kind of piled on top of itself. And I sat there and I was like, why is Bitcoin's price so low? Even when we've seen before historically that whenever Bitcoin's price tends to even kind of mimic how much it just costs to actually mine one Bitcoin. Like it typically will follow it. And sometimes it's even like 10 to 15% higher than it actually is. And that's not even like the only thing that we've gotten. Like, it's not like we've only heard from the Swiss Stock Exchange that they were going to be adding Bitcoin. Like, it's been multiple players in the game. And like, I understand that we don't see the actual movements from the over-the-counter purchases and stuff like that. But one would have assumed that months ago, Bitcoin's price would have actually started mimicking exactly what its, if you want to use the word fundamentals, if you want to use the word use case. We had news before that Bitcoin transacted over $1 trillion in 2018 worth of value around the world. I don't know. I said I was done before, but now I think I'm done now. There's no real solution, I guess. I don't own an enormous amount of Bitcoin to be able to actually push the prices up. I wish I had a couple of, I would like it at least, I want to say 80 billion in my bank account, and I would buy up as much Bitcoin as humanly possible because I'm pretty sure that would get the prices to move up. For some reason, we had, for those who weren't here before, we had I mean, it's still kind of the same. Don't even get me wrong. Whenever XRP has amazing news, the price doesn't move. The price will go up by a good 3% and settle right back where it was before. And the same exact thing is happening with Bitcoin right now. It seems that Ethereum and Litecoin are the only coins that really are actually moving on like a day-to-day basis. Ethereum was almost under 100. It was at 150 before. I mean, even going down is still a price movement. Same exact thing with Litecoin. It was 23, now it's 55. Not many coins are moving, and it's kind of bringing out the madness in me, because even if prices have to go lower and retest the lows that we were talking about, remember when everybody was like, yeah, Bitcoin's going to hit 1,200? Let's go there. Let's do it. If we have to hit 1,200 to hit 10,000 a couple of weeks after, by all means, please, let's go for it. But the sideways activity is probably one of the craziest things in the entire world. It was about since August, September, October, November, December of 2018. That's when all the sideways stuff started happening, and then Bitcoin was at 6,000 going sideways, and it was supposed to shoot up, and the Bitcoin Cash SV came out, and then we are where we are now in price. Before that, years and years, Bitcoin's volatility was insane. It's why so many people left JP Morgan Chase and all these other places who were like day traders to trade cryptocurrencies, because the volatility is absolutely incredible in the cryptocurrency market, and it kind of brings this new cycle of like hope and energy into the space. But when prices, I don't understand. People are saying, and don't take this to heart, do not at all, because I mean the market's unpredictable, that by the end of today or sometime today, the break will happen. We will either go up or we will either go down, logically, because these are the only ways that we can go at the end of a tight range, as it's being called. I'm still going to assume that the price is going to completely slam down. It's better than nothing. But yeah, rant over. I haven't ranted in a while. That felt kind of nice. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. This madness needs to end because I am at my wit's end. I would just like to see something, some type of movement. Bitcoin at 7,000, like just go to 7,000, stay there for a while. That'd be kind of great. Anyway, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Vlad the Impaler, Gilboa Snake, Rai, Brady Niels, L Doug, Arthur Yaku, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Nick Mangialavorti, Travis Haynes, Yasha Harari, Anthony Charles, Nick Kanaya, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Wise Night Owl, Joey Carafa, Crypto Joe, Jim Gardner, Jared Schneider, Jeremy Fox, yeah, I got that right, Amy Starsheen, Richie Richard III, Jeffrey Ramsey, Cody, Carl Birchenough, Paxis, Jeffrey Dam, and Nicholas, One Earth, One Peace, One Love. If you would like to have your name listed out at the end of my video, I think there are only like 5 spots left, just as a warning, because that space is filling up relatively quick. Anyway, thank you all once again for watching and listening. Think I need to take a nap. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.